Hi, happy Monday.
Happy Monday, everyone. We got a pretty cool, short but sweet video for you today. What do we got going on?
Well, I got to rescape a tank for some new fish that even I have not seen yet, and we have a question for you.
And the question is, in this new scape, do we leave the wood or get rid of it and add more rocks? These are some great fish, and that really is the focus of today's video. The rescape is cool. We've got a fresh new background, but the fish are going to be awesome. Hope you enjoy it. All right, so this is the tank that we are going to redo right here. This is the 40-gallon breeder. If you remember, we had some star sapphires in this tank. We have moved the star sapphires into the 75-gallon below down there. This tank is going to get some upgrades that I've been wanting to do for a while. It's going to have some cool fish. Now, I kind of like the way it looks. There haven't been any fish in here. I think there's like a bristlenose pleco and a catfish in here, a Synodontis. That's it, and it really looks nice. So I'm kind of having a hard time tearing it apart, but we need to get this thing torn apart because we've got to put the background in. So that's what we're going to do next. We're going to go ahead, empty out the tank, get the one bristlenose and the Synodontis catfish, move those into, probably the bristlenose will go in here in the other tank, and that Synodontis I think I'm going to put in one of the two 75-gallon African cichlid tanks. Drain this out, get it cleared out, and then we'll go get the background on. All right, so I got all the rocks out, I got all the wood out. There were actually two bristlenose plecos in this tank and one Synodontis catfish. The bristlenose plecos are in the 40-gallon right over here. And you can also see the sponge filter that was in this tank. I just put it in that 40-gallon breeder. It's not even hooked up to air right now. It's right by the return of the hang-on back filter, so the beneficial bacteria that are on the surface of that filter are probably gonna be okay. Well, I'm gonna lose some of them because I'm not running air through the filter, but at least we're going to be okay. If I think this is going to take longer than it should, I can run the air line into that sponge filter in that tank. Everything will be okay. Next step is I want to get this thing drained. I need to get the sand out, which is going to be a major pain before we put the background in. All right, everyone, so we got the 40-gallon off the wall behind me. I cleaned out this tank. What a pain it is getting sand out of a tank. For those of you who have done it, you know it can be a real mess. Now I'm gonna flip this tank over, and the background is actually gonna go on this side of the tank. All I have to do at this point is get it in, silicone it, let it dry for 24 hours, and then I'm gonna do the fun part, and that is let Joanna do her thing to make sure that this tank looks cool. Okay, real quick, this is the background that we're going to be using. We've used these before. They're from Universal Rocks. I like them. The multi-tank right behind us right over there, that has one of these, a different style, so this is a little bit different in terms of its design, but we're going to go ahead and get this glued in, and I'll show you what it looks like. And just real quick, when I silicone this background, I'm just going to silicone the ends right to the glass itself, and then also the bottom. I like to use this. This is the Loctite clear silicone. It's pure. It's got no anti-mold or anything like that. So this is what I'm going to be using to attach this to the background. All right, so this is the tank. I think you did a good job. Now, it's not drastically different from before.
No.
If you remember this tank, it started out with some star sapphire cichlids, and I really liked that tank. The problem was those fish were getting too large for that tank. We had actually lost a couple, so we found, okay, let's take the fish that we have left. We had a male and a couple females, put those in the 75-gallon with the rest of the peacock cichlids, and then that opened up this tank, and now we have this. And so your challenge was what?
Well, to use the rocks that we had, and even with all of the aquascaping supplies that we have, never fails. Every once in a while, come upon something that I just don't have enough of, or you don't have the right size. Either your rocks are too small or too big. And this case, I just didn't have larger rocks, so Jason wanted to leave in the wood. I wasn't quite so sure. I would like it to be a strict biotope, and yeah, so it may look different in the future.
So not only that, but I think I actually, in addition to the wood, I think I want plants in this tank. So we're going to have to go in two very different directions here, at least in terms of what this looks like. So we'd love to hear from you in the comments section below. Would you like to see it planted, or would you like to see more of a biotope and even remove the wood? Now let's get to the fish. The fish are awesome, and We really love the Cyprichromas. What's really cool about them, they're still a little bit on the younger side, but when they get older, they are going to get this amazing yellow face and a nice dark blue to the rest of their body. They're going to look awesome. I think they're going to challenge the Cyprichromas leptosoma that we have down below in terms of being one of the most beautiful fish that we have in the fish room, and they breed pretty much the same way. The other fish that we have in this tank that I think is pretty cool is the blue phantom pleco.
Oh.
We actually have a few of these, and one of them wound up in this tank. So we've got that along with the Cyprichromas, and I think that's all we're going to add to this tank at this point. I want the Cyprichromas to kind of build up their colony just like the fish below them did, and I think this is the only pleco we're going to add and just let these fish do what they do. So we're really excited to have them. I think it's going to be awesome. It's going to take a little bit of time, right? The Lake Tanganyikans, as is always the case, they take a little bit of patience, but once they start to show their colors, that patience can be rewarded. Now, the background is something that we've tried before. This is the Universal Rocks background. I like it quite a bit. We have it in our multi-tank right now, and we have some other things coming up in the near future that are going to showcase some of these backgrounds and some of the other tanks that we have. So we're trying to just incrementally increase the awesomeness of our tanks, or make them from, kind of one-dimensional to multi-dimensional. So like the background, pretty cool. I'll put a link for that in the description below. They do get expensive, and I think in one of the future videos that we're going to do, I'm going to do a DIY? Yes, we're going to do one ourselves, and we're going to show you how that's done for a lot less money.
And those 3D backgrounds, initially when you got the first one, I wasn't real keen, but they are starting to grow on me.
All right, everyone, so that was the new tank. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoy the fish. We're going to give you updates as they start to color up a little bit. Should be pretty cool.
Yeah, and remember, leave your comments down below what you think of the tank and how you think, how we should change it. Add plants, don't add plants, remove the wood, larger rocks. Let us know, what would you do? Because I know what I would do and what I'm probably going to do.
We'll have to wait and see. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you watching.
Bye. Have a good week.